everybody, it's Yamanaya here once again, and guess what? The bull market train might be over, but it doesn't mean that retro style vinyl figures are just going to stop pumping into my channel, because now we have something else to show off. And of course, if you can read the title, and if you can't read the title, or can't even see the screen, I commend you for finding, my cliche little channel somewhere hidden deep within the YouTube. But here is the review for today. It is the Yamanaya and Subaru Communications Reconstructed Bemstar from all the way back in 1999. So yeah, that's the figure. Before we take a look at the figure himself, let's take a look at the packaging. It's kind of annoying that this header tag, the tag itself is actually wider than the bag, which is really annoying in my opinion. It's not like the B clubs that we're all used to. But right here it says Sofubi Shirizu. I'm guessing that says Yamanaya, but that looks more like, say, Kaiju Go or something like that. So I don't know. I'm gonna assume that it says Yamanaya. Of course, it used to be very much expensive. Bemstar Kaizo, or Reconstructed Bemstar. Back then it was 5,000 yen. Mandarake did have a spot sale on the item. Unfortunately, their spot sale means that it's actually more expensive than before. So, congratulations. Right here, Urutoraman Taro Yori from Ultraman Taro, Uchu Kaiju, or should be Uchu Dai Kaiju. Shame on you, Subaraya. Bemstar Kaizo Green. I have no clue why it's called green. It might be because of the green spray on him, but the figure is actually molded in peach, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's sold by I can't read this, it's kanji. Subaraya Communications. Right here for 8 and up, so it's actually for a younger age demographic than bull marks. But that is the entirety of the packaging. I'm not going to display it with the figure itself because it's a little too haphazard, so let's just get onto the figure itself. Oh my darling, you are looking spiffy today. Bemstar actually looks very good, unlike some of the bullmark figures that I've reviewed in the past, like say Dengar or something, where the sculpt is either really good, or say what's his name, Cosmo Liquid, whose sculpt is kind of hit and miss. Yamanaya, in my opinion, has some of the most consistent sculpts in most in their toys. This reconstructed Bemstar looks damn identical to the one on screen, outside the fact that he looks a little more stuffed up and a little less floppy, because in the show the reconstructed Bemstar does look extremely floppy. But in any case, this is a very nice sculpt. It's even captured the loose stomach that this one has versus the original, which was a lot more well sealed up. The rest of the figure looks fine the way it is, and I am very pleased with the sculpt work on this figure. Honestly, I feel like this would rival Bandai quality, and I wish that Bandai would just take this thing and make it smaller, despite the copyright laws that they'd be breaking. And now let's take a quick look at the articulation, because if you thought that the original Bemstar was a freaking pancake in vinyl, this thing won't be satiating you much further than that. The head is articulate, but it is cut on a triangle, or at least an oval, and it takes a huge amount of effort to even move it a little bit. Also, on mine, the vinyl was not cut very properly, so there is a little bit of a cut piece of vinyl. Let's see if I can find it. If I cannot, yeah, right there. There's a little bit of piece of cut vinyl right there. Poor quality cut. I also don't recommend rotating the head too often, because it would actually stretch the vinyl and it would actually make the head a little bit more looser, so you get the bobblehead effect. The arms both rotate 360 degrees, despite the fact that this is semi-hard vinyl, it is still fine to rotate. And finally, the tail rotates, even though it is entirely pointless and it breaks up the paint scheme. The legs do not move at all, but that is to be expected on a Bemstar, and honestly, I'm just glad it follows the same pattern as the Poppy one, despite, the Poppy one not having a rotating tail. Let us wrap up this fairly fast toy review with some size comparisons. Now, first of all, let's try it with the other Yamanaya / Subaru Communications figure I own, Birugamo. And they don't look too bad together, and that's one of the big strengths with the Yamanaya figures, is the fact that they scale very well with like standard sized bull marks from back in like the 70s. So say Dengar over here looks very good next to Reconstructed Bemstar. Same thing with some of the newer retro styled figures, like say Rocco here from the Pachimon line, of course. He looks very good standing alongside this Bemstar. Unfortunately, what this Bemstar does not cater towards is some of the larger figures from the Bullmark line. So figures like, say, Cosmo Liquid look pretty terrible next to it. Or maybe the Cosmo Liquid looks the same, looks just about as good. I don't know. I forgot how tall Cosmo Liquid was. And finally, let's wrap up with some Bandai scalings. Of course, I don't have a lot of merchandise from Ultra Vantaro, so I'm going to be substituting in with Jack. Yes, I know that is kind of guilty of me, but the problem is, you know, this is a Bemstar, so Jack obviously fits the bill better when it comes to fighting it. First off, let's try an Ultra Hero. Let's try the Jack Ultra Hero Series figure. Of course, Jack is dwarfed by this thing, so doesn't look that great. Next up, let's try an Ultra Act. Let's try the Ultra Act Jack, which is the same size as most third generation, or quote-unquote last generation Ultra Act, because of course Ultra Acts are dead. It still doesn't look as good as, say, with Dengar, but then again, the Ultra Act does look a lot better. And finally, let's try an Ultra Monster Series figure. We're gonna go with Arstron, because why not? Wow. And, of course, they don't look all that good together, but then again, you know, you have to remember that Bemstar is, at least in this variant, kind of scaled up, so, yeah. In the end, I'm giving this Bemstar a guaranteed 5 out of 5. It's a fantastic figure, and I've always remembered this thing because back in, like 2010 or something, I did a Google search for revived Bemstar, or reconstructed Bemstar in this case, and I did find a picture of this figure owned by some girl from Sweden or something, and I don't know, I was always kind of fascinated by the fact that this figure even existed and it looked pretty darn good, and now to think that I actually have this variant, it's kind of nice. Of course, the colors are not, you know, correct whatsoever, but then again, that's something you have to expect from these type of, you know, retro-styled vinyl figures. But the actual sculpt itself looks great. The articulation, while it's the same as on the Bandai, which means it's disappointing, I believe that's about the max you can really achieve with Bemstar type figures. And the sizing is just plain, you know, meh, but as a villain character, because that's really all Bemstar is really good for, I believe it actually works out very well as a villain character. You want the villain to be large and imposing, and, well, he's not too big like Cosmo Liquid, and he's still imposing, just like, say, Dengar. So, you know, why not like this guy? But yeah, that has been the review. This is Yamanaya. I'll thank you for watching. The review is, the rating is once again a definite 5 out of 5. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!